We are continuing with planning for math instruction and planning with student engagement in mind. So we left off looking at the 6NS1 document, and we talked about the standard itself, the cluster that standard falls under, the math practices that should be evident. This is the behavior of the students and their actions in class, the I can statements, the essential questions, the prerequisite skills, and we left off with rigor. And again, I stated that there are 3 rigor levels for math: procedural skill and fluency, which is doing mathematics; conceptual understanding, which is understanding the why behind the math that we do; and then the 3rd level, application. That's about taking that concept and applying it in the real world context. So for this one, you'll actually see pieces of all 3 of the rigor levels that deal with this particular standard. I'm going to go to this was the first page of this document. I'm scrolling down to the 2nd page of the document, and this standard 2nd page starts with the unpacking of the standard. So again, we talked about how at the beginning, the way the standard is written sometimes may not be as easily understood. Everything that it encompasses may not be as easily understood, but the unpacking shows you what students should be exposed to. And for a lot of these, especially for 6th grade, it kind of lets you know, hey, in 5th grade, students divided whole numbers by unit fractions and divided unit fractions by whole numbers. Now, you're going to take them a step further. Now you're going to have them find the quotients of fractions. And so you're aware of what it is they've already developed. It also states here, students continue to develop this concept by using visual models and equations to divide whole numbers by fractions and fractions by fractions to solve word problems. So here's an example of the mathematics that should be experienced by students if they are exposed to this particular standard at the depth that they should be exposed. And again, I have to say this because I've seen this before. Giving a worksheet that just has 3 divided by 2/5 is not addressing the standard to the depth that it should be. Again, this says interpret and compute quotients, solve word problems involving division, use visual fraction models. So thinking that the standard is being addressed by just giving them a division problem is not it. Okay. So again, here's another example. Example 2, Susan has 2/3 of an hour left. You can see the visual model that they're using here is a number line. There are options with bar diagrams in the first example. And there's a 3rd example here as well that has a bar diagram, and a 4th example as well. And these examples not only have the actual questions, but they also have solutions and the context that this could be used in. Okay, as I scroll down to the 3rd page of this document, you will see the vocabulary that is important for students to know in order to master this standard. So whatever your vocabulary procedures are, hopefully they do not consist of just writing the word and students copying the word and the definition out of a textbook. But make sure you're using 21st century skills in regards to them understanding and knowing the vocabulary. In a resource that I'm going to show you in a little bit, in our Glencoe resource, there are some vocabulary options there as well. And then we have an assessments tab. So we've added a couple things here. You are able to search for assessment items within SchoolNet for 6NS1. Or you may go to the NCDPI released EOG assessment for grade 6. And these particular question numbers reference that particular standard, 6NS1. Again, I'm going to click on this link. You are able to see what it is you're preparing students for. So I clicked on the link and I'm opening the document. And I remember seeing number 2 was a question for 6NS1. And again, if you look at this question, it is not just about dividing fractions. They're given a real-world context. A rectangular parking lot has an area of 2/3 of a square kilometer. The width is half of a kilometer. What is the length in kilometers of the parking lot? Okay, so we see where students need to use that division. And again, making those visual models will make this a little more understandable for the students. Okay, I am going back to the 6NS1 standard analysis document. And again, I can go back to that released EOG and look at questions 7, 8, and 9 and see what they're about. Also here, 6NS2 is a standard that students will need to be able to master without the aid of the calculator. Okay, so that's why calculator inactive is written here. And gridded response. So this means that students will not only need to be exposed to multiple choice questions, they'll need to be exposed to questions where they have to give open-ended responses. So I thought that was important for you all to know as well.